Patala, Atala, the Kingdom of Bala by Shrideep J. Ghogre. New School. I was a bit sad and feeling a bit nervous. I got out of the dad's sedan and said goodbye to my father and started walking toward the gates of my new school. It was my fourth school in the last 7 years and now was the final big board exam. I was feeling really nervous. Usually, parents try to keep their students in the same school where they are well settled in and have made turning with their classmates and teachers, but my life was different. From the big metro city like Pune, I was forced to relocate again and this time to the most remote place of the Maharashtra. The place where even today half of the people did not know how to use internet. But due to the government grants received and big industrialist tripping in the CSR activities, I will admit the school located like it was a Hogwarts from Harry Potter. It was, let's say, top notch. It was a boarding school which I had insisted on. Being the boarding school, I will not have to change the school even if my dad got transferred again. I had given so many tests and physicals and finally earned my admission in the school. And trust me, some of the tests were pretty weird. Finally, I was standing at the gates of my new school. Huge, massive, and up to the date looks were enough to let us know it is well equipped for every course I was going to take there for the next 11 months period at least. At the gate of, I was greeted by the school faculty who had shown us the campus and school during our admission process. Her name was Sadhana. So finally, you came, Rishi. I was expecting you. Come in. I will take you to your class. The school PN will take your luggage to your room. You can unpack later. Looking at my dad, she said, I will take it from here and smiled. My father removed the briefcase and other baggage from the hood, and PN promptly put it on the trolley and went inside. I hugged my dad one last time. I knew it was going to be now a long time till I see him again. After saying me goodbye, Dad went back on his way. I walked in the gates of school, the gate of my new universe, I hope. I walked in the school with hope in my eyes and little bit nervousness in my stomach. First class and friends. While walking in the school, through the gardens, the fountain, and the corridors, I had suddenly become very self aware, as every student whom I passed on the way was looking at me, not just looking, but staring at me, tried to read me as I was a book. Sadhana madam took me to the class and assigned me a bench and said, sit here, your class will begin in next few minutes, and left. As she was leaving, a girl came in the class. Sadhana madam and the girl talked at the door of my classroom and Sadhana madam left. The girl came and sat next to me. She removed her bag and opened it on the page where she had stopped writing yesterday. She relaxed herself, took a sip of water from the bottle, and then smiled at me and said, hi, I'm Ritika. Hello, I'm Rishi, I said, shaking her hand. She smiled and said, it's really nice to meet another human in this school. Thanks, I said, and just then teacher entered the class and lecture began. Wait a minute. What the hell did she meant meet another human in the school? Who the hell are all other students? I tried to ask her but the teacher shh me. Trust me, I was not ashamed to agree I had got some goosebumps on my hand. While Ritika was solving the trigonometry questions, I was thinking about her words. Another human in the school? Are other ghosts? As soon as the bell rang, before the teacher left the class, all the students ran out of the class. I was standing at my bench with my book in the hand, trying to understand exactly what had happened in past 10 seconds, why all had ran out of the class and where they had ran. The teacher looking at me and said, they have gone to the canteen, new boy. You also ran if you want to get warm breakfast. It's down the hall, left hand ground floor. Okay. I did not run, but I was curious, so I walked to the cafeteria. I could see huge line of students with plates in hand, Ignoring the line, I went straight to the counter and bought the bottle of soda and sat on one table alone. A few minutes, 3, 4 girls came and sat on my table, very talkative and chatty. Where are you from? When did you come to school? How was your life before? Who all are in your family? And so on. As I was just going to open my mouth, a group of other 2, 3 girls came calmly and sat on the table and began having their breakfast. The first group of girls went on, and then came the question, so tell me how it feels to be a human. Who are these people? I was shocked and confused, and was just going to open my mouth when Ritika came in with her plate of breakfast. She had bought egg and milk. She put the plate on the table, then held the ponies of 2 of those girls and picked them up, saying, "You blue blood, stay away from him." All the 4 girls left, giving furious looks to Ritika. The other group of all just about to get up when Ritika said, "You green blood can sit if you don't have any place to eat." They smiled and continued to eat. She joined me and began eating her breakfast. "So you are not eating any breakfast today?" I was like, what the hell, she is sitting here, eating as if nothing has happened. I had to get answers, so I said, what the hell was that? Humans, green blood, blue blood, and all. She looked at me and said, "You don't know?" "Know what?" I asked. "Never mind." Saying so, she stood up, "We will get late for class," and walked out of the canteen. I looked at the group of girls whom she had called green blood and said, "What's going on?" One of them said, "You will get to know at the right moment soon. Till then, choose your friends well." "You mean I must stay away from Ritika and stay with you?" I said. "No, you must stay away from us and stay with red blood Ritika. And stay as far away as you can from blue blood." Saying so, even they left. I was confused and most of scared. I mean, what was this same kind of big elaborate plan to prank the newcomers? And what kind of prank was it? What did they mean when they said I was the only human except Ritika? I mean, who do they all think they are? They also have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 2 hands, and 2 legs, just like me. They are humans, for God's sake. Don't know what they believe themselves to be. I kept to myself for remaining day. In my classroom, I can feel the eyes of literally every classmate trying to pierce my skin. After class, Ritika took me with her out of the school, literally holding my hand and dragging me. She took me to the new building at the end of our school premises. It had a separate gate which she opened with a key, and inside she took me to the first floor and handed me a key. "This is your flat," saying so she showed me the door marked with number 02, which had my name plate on it with 3 red rubies. Exactly in the front of my door, I saw her door, which had a similar name plate of brass and 2 rubies stone. My room. I opened my room. It was well equipped and furnished, which I had a small pantry with refrigerator and a hot pan and all in the living area. There was a couch and TV unit back to the pantry with a table which could be used for dining. 6 people could occupy it. At the back was a wardrobe cupboard. There was a toilet. Wardrobe had a big full-size mirror, and there was a study table with computer right next to the wardrobe. The room had a huge balcony with a coffee table and 2 chairs. My luggage was already in the apartment. I unpacked myself and sat there for some time, still confused. Just then Ritika knocked the door and invited me for the coffee. I went into the room. It was a pretty much same as mine. Well, she had decorated it with some plants and aquarium. She had put some slogans from world leaders and had her and her family few photos on wall. She took me to the gallery and served us both coffee. I said, "Will you like to explain me what's all this?" "What do you mean?" she asked casually. "I mean these human things, and red blood, and green blood, and blue blood, and all." "Oh, that. That's just the house color we are classified as," she said. "Oh, the color. And also, you mean I am in the house red blood? Sure, she said. Cool. So, who else is in our house? I asked. Well, it's you and it's me, she said, sounding not so confident. Okay, I said, confused. Just us both? That's cool. How many are there in Blue Blood House? Well, let's say around 90 or so, she said. In greenhouse, I asked. Oh, in green blood house, there are more or less around 50 students, she said. Now I got confused. So one house has 90, one house has 50, and our house has only 2. That's not fair. On what basis is this house separation done? I asked. She smiled and said, on who you are. What does that mean? I asked. You know, Ritika said, you ask a lot of questions. Asking a question is not wrong, but asking questions to the wrong person is wrong. Then, whom shall I ask? She was just going to open her mouth to answer when the doorbell rang. She opened the door. Outside was a school peon with 2 lunch boxes. She signed the sheet and took both lunch boxes for us. Handed me one, then said, you know, the red blood has a luxury at night. Dinner we get it home delivery and we get to choose our menu. I took the tiffin and said thanks. I must take the leave now. Sure, she said, and closed the door behind me. At my room, I spent some time on television, took warm shower, heated my tiffin in microwave and had dinner sitting in the gallery. Watching the night sky was very peaceful experience. After dinner, I put my track pant and t-shirt and went out. But the main gate of our building was locked. I went to Ritika's apartment for the key of the main gate. She straight away refused, saying I was not permitted to go out in the campus at night. Arguing with her was completely waste. Finally, thinking tomorrow morning I will ask the key to Sandhana madam. I said her good night and went to my room. Sitting on the chair in the gallery, enjoying the night sky as limited I as can, called my home and had a talk with my family. Just as I had a cut the call, I saw few of blue blood house girls walking on the road beside our gate. Oh, how I was jealous of them. I wanted to go out for the walk. I didn't know why Ritika was being so arrogant. I kept watching them for a while. They walked inside the garden. I kept watching them for a while. I was lost in thoughts, missing my family, and trying to think the events of today. The hunt. I saw those girls bending down and searching for something. My curiosity overtook me, and I removed my binoculars from cupboard and started trying to observe exactly what was going on. And as I was observing them, their moves started to change. They moved with super speed. Their moves were as if they were flying in the air, and at last I saw what was the thing they were chasing. I saw them. They had circled a deer and picked it. And oh, what were they doing? Oh my god, what kind of teeth that one girl had! Oh, are they canines? And oh, what is she doing? Is she putting the canines in the neck of deer? Oh god, what kind of fingers does this one girl had? They look like claws. Shit, she's tearing the deer open. Oh my god, these 5, 6 of them are eating the deer raw like animals. Oh shit, what's happening? Darkness circled me and I fell on the ground. When I opened the eyes, I was on the bed, and there were other girls in my dome. Ritika was shouting at the girls, you had to go hunting like wild animals, and you had to go hunting today itself, and that too in the front of him. One of girls said, see, we had no idea he would be stalking with a pair of binoculars. Thank yourself. We were walking by and smelled him bleed and came to help. Yes, I could feel now that my forehead had a cut and it was bandaged. Sadhna madam was there speaking. What does he know? How is he? Ritika was speaking. He is good, I think, but asked too many questions. And these dumb girls don't know how to behave, because of which he is more and more confused. The group of greenhouse girls came with their houseboys. I could feel the tension between green and blue blood house. Their stare at each other were enough to make my stomach uncomfortable. The girl who had sat with us on the table for lunch handed Ritika a locket for some kind. I couldn't see it clearly and said, "Till he is prepared, this will protect him from this below the earth worms," and left. Sadhna madam put the locket in my shirt pocket. By now, I had got complete conscious and I tried sitting on my bed. My mind was running very fast. What is going on? Who should I trust? What should I speak? At last, I decided to play the card of unawareness. "Hello, all. Thanks for helping me." Ritika smiled and said, "So, how did you fall?" I said, "I was in balcony watching the stars and I slipped on the water, I think." I could see the sign of relief all tried to hide. Ritika said, "Now take rest, we will meet tomorrow for class." And all of them left. I closed the door and went to the pantry, filled myself a cup of coffee. I knew I was not going to sleep tonight. The talks of truth. I took the coffee and sat on the coffee table and took the sip. "You know, you are not good at lying." Shocked, I looked back. The girl who had given the locket to me was sitting on the chair in front of me. But she was not there 2 seconds ago. I looked at her. "What? What?" She said. "I slipped on water and fell, watching the stars and all." I said, "No, it's true." She smiled and said, "You know, like those girls have canines and claws, and other who can fly, I can read mind and see the thoughts which you can think." I got scared, got up, and started walking back, sweating. "Sit down, Rishi," she said with a smile. Don't know why, but her one smile had calmed me and down. I sat down on the chair. She had helped herself with coffee. We both took the sip of coffee and sat there without saying anything for some time. After some time, she said, "By the way, I am Radha." I smiled and said, "So, who are you? I mean, what are you?" She smiled and said, "I am celestial body, but we are called Yakshani." I nodded. Okay, had heard that term many times in past. There were around 36 type of Yakshanis, and they were formed from the sweat of Mother Parvati. Also, I had heard another story where Lord Brahma had created them to save and cherish the nature. Thinking of that conversation still today, I can't believe how the hell I could take it so calmly, but Radha and her presence was the reason, I think. So I said, "Green blood means Yakshani." She said, "No, green blood consists of Yaksha, Yakshani, Apsara, Gandharva. Mostly, also we have Dev Putras once in a while." In short, green blood consists of the celestial being that can go from the earth to heaven. It was a lot to take, but I had already started talking mental notes. I will ask the doubts later. First, I will get all the information, then process it and ask the doubts later. So I went on. "So, who are there in Blue Blood House?" She said, "It consists of creatures from underworld. They are Pishachini, Dakini, Hakini, Rakini, Sakini, Paretini, Rakshasa, Danava, Daitya, basically who can go from earth to underworld." I nodded and said, "And the red blood house of earth dwellers, I think only humans." She smiled and said, "Humans right, earth dwellers wrong." "Means?" I asked. She said, "Red blood house means the humans who can go to hell or heaven, both." I was just going to open my mouth when she said, "Now take a nap. We'll talk tomorrow, and no one need to be afraid. No one will hurt you. Bye." And she vanished in thin air. New friends. Next morning, I woke up with a pain in my skull due to yesterday night's accident. I took a painkiller from my first aid kit and then went to hit the showers. I went to attend my class. Ritika was already sitting on the bench I had sat yesterday with her. I looked all around the room and spotted Radha. She was sitting on the other corner of the room, by the window. I saw there was an empty seat next to her. I walked straight to her and sat next to her. I saw Ritika literally standing and waving at me. Just then teacher entered and she sat down. Radha was a mysterious woman. Okay, she was not a woman. She was a Yakshani, a mystery for sure. I chatted with her for the whole lecture, avoiding the subject of yesterday night. I didn't know who all had witch fringing powers, and I didn't need anyone else to know I was on to them. So I was just chatting with her, smiling, laughing, and tried to be her friend. She was a cool girl. She smiled with open heart, and when she smiled, I could see small tears forming in her eyes. I followed her for breakfast and sat with her and her other two girls. Ritika joined me with her tray and sat beside me and said, Rishi, I had saved you a seat. Yes, and you had also locked the doors yesterday, I replied. She gave a look of disbelief. How can you be mad about it? Those are the rules of school. Yes, I'm going to have a check those rules myself. Saying so, I picked up the empty breakfast tray of mine, put it in the used tray container, and walked away. Okay, I understand she did it for my safety, but I needed to get information from Radha, and hence I needed to be with her, make her and my friend. After the classes, I went to Sadhna Madam and had a journal chat with her. She asked how I was feeling from yesterday fall and how I was settling in. Before I left, I requested her for the key to the gate. She held my hand and looked it in my eyes as if she was trying to read my closely. Then she smiled and handed me the key after saying, Tell Radha that I am counting on her. Means I asked. She just smiled and walked away. I came to my room or hostel, whatever you want to call it. The door was locked. Ritika had not came yet, but now I had a key. I opened the door, went in my room, got fresh and had coffee. While coffee and inspiration struck me and sat down while writing notes on yesterday's conversation with Radha. The name of the who all are in blue blood and green blood. Then I drew the figure of canines and claws and other weird things I had seen during the hunt. I planned on keeping the record as detailed as I can so I can do my research well. I knew in this situation knowledge was going to be my all weather friends and best ally. I had to follow the rules, know the neighbor, and my neighbor was celestial bodies with superpower, and I had to survive with them. After being satisfied with my notes, I was just about to start my desktop to go online and do some more research when I heard the voice of Radha. Girl, he has been stalking someone. And then I heard someone else laugh. I turned around, started, and there was a Radha with one of the girl who was seen mostly with blue blood. Hi. Hello, I said. Hi, Radha, said while the other girl waved at me without a word. Her name is Rucha. Radha introduced me to her. Rucha said, Sorry, you had to see my girls' dinner last night and you got scared. They didn't mean to scare you. I looked at Radha. She said, Don't worry, she also knew yesterday just like me and she's cool. I simply nodded. Rucha just nodded and said, Don't worry. No other student except we both know that you know secret. And after knowing secret, there is only one of two things a human will do. First, run off, and second, embrace this new life. As you have stayed in school even after yesterday's shock, I think you will stay for a long time. And that means you will need friends in both places. You can always count on me. I nodded. She smiled at me and left. Radha and I on the couch when I heard Ritika's voice outside on the stairs. What are you doing here? Don't you know blue blood must not come in red blood dome? And then I heard Rucha's voice. Oh sweet, don't you panic. If I want to eat you, I would have by now. I had just came to visit my new friend and your new neighbor. Ritika came up looking mad, walked at the door of my room, which was still open, then changing her mind, or might be because of Radha, who was sitting right in front of the door, marched straight in her room and slammed the door shut. Rucha didn't mean literally eating Ritika, did she? I asked. Rucha smiled and said, Of all the blue blood in this campus, she is the only one who has the power to do it. But she will not do it, as no blue blood has, by law, rule, and ethics, ever eaten human in this campus. What do you mean? She is the only one with the power to do it. I have seen other girls with canines and claws. Radha smiled. Yes, but no one can read mind. But Rucha can control other animals' mind, while other go to hunt in packs. She controls the mind of any animal she wants and force it to come to her. She also has canines and claws and can fly and do many more tricks, but I have never seen her in need to use them yet. There is the old Japanese saying, the greatest of Sumaria does not use his sword. She is the strongest of all of them. You know how your nameplate has the rubies for red bloods. Yes, I nodded. She continued. The number of rubies shows your level of strength. She explained. Rucha's name plate has 9 blue spheres. For blue blood house, the most I has witnessed. Okay, so the count of Ruby was a level of strength. I had 3 Ruby and Ritika had 2, which meant I was stronger than her also. I think Radha was reading my thoughts. She smiled and said, your level is 3, but your power is not awakened, and you don't know how to use your power. You are the only trained. On the other hand, do you remember on the first day in cafeteria when that blue blood pack had sat with you, she had picked them and threw away? The same girl whom Singh Hunt you had fainted. Yes, I said, getting her point. So how do I get that training? Radha said, wait for the real school to start. What does it mean? I asked. She smiled and said, it's the surprise you will love. Taking a pause, she said, okay, now have your dinner. After dinner, I will accompany you for the walk you missed yesterday, and said goodbye. The walk. After dinner, I wore my track pant and track suit. I locked my door and walked out when I saw Ritika was just looking the door. She looked at me and said, wandering out at night is against rules. Don't go out. Well, I have special permissions, I said, showing her the key I had received from Sadhana madam. She gave a sulky face and said, it's dangerous to go out at night. You don't know what is out there. I smiled and said, then I will find out myself. Saying so, I walked out of the gate and started walking toward the garden. I saw her shadow behind me, running up and coming down again and locking the gates behind her. She started walking behind me. On the next turn, Radha joined me, smiling. What are you smiling at? I asked her. She said, you saw that she ran up and came back to lock the door, right? I nodded. She said, she had gone to fetch her armors and weapons. What I said and looked back. She said, she is one of your kind, your biological structure. Speak with her. I simply nodded yes. Radha looked at Ritika and waved her to come and join us. She joined us in 2, 3 steps. We started walking in the garden. Radha said, why Ritika, why don't you let him come out at night? Ritika looked at her and said, you know, the reason. It's dangerous. Out there, you know what type of creatures are there out. Radha said, you know, Ritika Rishi knows what's going on. He witnessed the whole hunt yesterday. That's the reason he had fainted. Ritika looked at me, straight in my eyes. Radha continued, he is from your blood house. It should have been you to tell him. Ritika said, I was going to after the school start. Till then, I wanted him to have the normal life. Radha said, normal life? He has 3 rubies on his nameplate and he has come in this school just after the doors were closed and head of Brahma has taken. Do you really accept that his life is going to be normal? He has been brought here because he is the one who will travel all the hells and heaven. I looked at Radha and said, what do you mean? Radha said that story for some another time. Now you both go and have a talk. It's safe. Today no one is hunting saying so. She disappeared. We both went in the garden and sat on the bench. She was looking at me non-stop. I couldn't help but ask, what are you looking at? She said, you saw the hunt and still didn't try to escape this place. I said, is there any reason for me to run? She said, no, there is no reason. I was just remembering my first reaction when I had got to know about these weird things. I smiled and said, do tell. She smiled and said, I had joined only few days back and was the only girl in Red Blood House. I had made really good friends with both the houses, Green Blood and Blue Blood House. Everything was normal, but then the doors of hell were broken. The Kalp was trying to escape. Then the head of Brahma was stolen, and Entire hell had become unstable and Blue Blood was quite on edge. They had started acting out, and one fine evening while returning from school to my dorm, I stretched my legs in the shrubs and two drops of blood came out. And I saw the friends who were walking with me transform to their unholy faces. Oh God, I screamed and ran thanks to Radha who stopped them from chasing me. I smiled, imagining an entire sequence in my mind, and then said, You didn't notice them different before. No, she said, they started to change and hunt after the hell doors were broken. Before that, they were just normal kids. I mean, as far as I knew. I nodded. It's okay. There might still be those friends of yours beneath that hellish faces. She just smiled and said, Hope so. Then I asked, What does it mean? When the real school will start, I mean, what is the real school? She smiled and said, Did you accept the real blue blood and green blood and the red blood select with them to study these academies? No. We are taught mysterious and war, and God, you will love that. Okay, this year was going to be super exciting. I crossed my fingers. I invited her to late night coffee on my terrace for some more talks, but she said, Go to sleep. Tomorrow we are going to have a new admissions. And trust me, you want to look best for them. I was like, Who are they? Just then Radha and Rucha joined out of thin air and started saying, Yes, he is going to want to look best. Do you own a Tuxedo? You must shave 2 times tomorrow and take 3 times bath. I was like, Whom Miss Universe is going to join or what? But no, it was someone else. Someone more beautiful than Miss Universe. It was an Apsara. New admission. Yes, Apsara about whom I had heard a lot stories. Their beauty was said to be heavenly enchanting. Okay, can't say I was not excited to meet them. Next morning I was going to school from the dome. I saw few girls get down from the SUV at the gate. Ritika pushed me from behind and said, They are here for the whole year, let's move. I walked to the class. In few minutes, Sadhana madam came to our class with these girls and assigned them to Green Blood House and left. My days were going well. I had adjusted myself to the new school and new type of friends. It was awesome. I was fitting in for might be first time. The school was same, teachers were same, only subjects were going to change. And green and blue blood could roam around in their real faces and use their powers openly. I even got adjusted to that. I used to keep my fingers crossed to see Apsara in their real heavenly beautiful form. It was my own personal superstition that the day when I see an Apsara in their original form is going to be the lucky day or else it's just the normal day. I used to spend my time mostly with the green blood and the blue blood boys. One was Yaksha named Rutu and the other was a Rakshasa named Bhairav. We three had formed the great bond and couldn't be parted. We spent our time on grounds, throwing balls in the basket or in swimming pool relaxing. But after dinner, my walk with Ritika continued as Bhairav and Ritu had different needs in night. Bhairav needed to hunt and Ritu needed to meditate, so I had no option. The panic. That night also I was having the walk with Ritika in the gardens, talking, chatting, laughing, making jokes when suddenly Rucha came in front of us and said, Get back to your dome now. Just then Radha came with her few green blood house friends and few of the blue blood also came. All were in panic mood. Sadhana madam came, Rucha and Radha both sent us in the dome and Bhairav and Ritu were told to accompany us and stay with us. But they both didn't accompany us alone. They had their gangs and every member was on high alert. Ritika and I asked number of times what has happened, but only the answer which we got was house head and golden blood knew it was a serious issue which was treated on need to know basis. Okay, what are the house head and golden blood? I asked. Ritika told me Househead was the most powerful person of the house, that Rucha and Radha who controlled the house, and then Golden Blood are the teachers, that to only few Sadhana madam was one of them. Even others didn't know what was going on. Whole night went on and in the morning it was told that everything was okay. But why did Rucha and Radha face told other stories? That's day onward. I and Ritika noticed one thing. Rucha and Radha were 24-hour around Ritika and Bhairav and Ritu besides me. Guess what other blue blood and green blood gang was always at the eyesight? We both, Ritika and I, knew that something was wrong, but we didn't utter a word even to each other and kept our daily routine showing that we have no notice the 24 by 7 security around us. At night, on our walk, where the garden was always empty, now Yaksha had chosen the place to hang alone with Gandharvas and listen to their songs at the back of our dome, where there was a scar kept for years suddenly, become the carom and cards playing sport to Rakshasa and Dana. The hunt parties which used to go away inside now started surfacing at very edge of the forest. I was observing this and did not like it at all. I had borrowed few weapons from myself from the weaponry and kept it handy. I had begun to sleep with a dagger under the pillow, and I also began keeping few small sized daggers under the sleeves, always ready and handy. Then, after a few days, same panic was struck again. Everything same panic in both campus, and we were locked inside. Then everything normal in few hours. After few days, again this was repeated, and then again after few days this was repeated. This chain of event happened 5 to 6 times. Now the danger had become my curiosity. What was going on? That night I called Ritika in my dorm for coffee. I was going to have a chat with her. Sitting on the coffee table in balcony, we both took the sip of our coffee and saw outside where many of the green blood and blue blood house were chilling out, but I could see they were keeping an eye on us. I said, so Ritika, tell me, what's going on? She said, don't know. They don't tell us till it's over. Last time, also when Kalp Sarp was killed and Brahma's head was taken, there was a situation just like this. Panic all over the school, but I was kept out of it. You will get used to it soon. And don't you worry about it. It's their matter, not humans. I looked at her in disbelief and said, this is not what I expected from you. I thought you were better than this. There is a danger out there. That's the reason our friends are on panic mode and we must be part of the team who is on front line to fight it. In these schools, we are the only two who represent humans, the red blood, and we must show them even we can be the reliable and dependable. Nice speech. Really, she said. But you know what? When the first time this panic was struck, when the doors to hell were opened, I gave the same speech, and trust me, this keeping us under the watch 27 by 7, it got really worse. You don't know. One quality which is common in blue and green blood both. What is it? I asked. They both can be overprotective and jealous. She said, and you don't want to go to that side of any of the green or blue blood. Trust me, you will wish for your own death. It's terrible. I smiled and said, so there is no chance for me to date an Apsara? She laughed and said, Apsara is cool, but Yakshani is real mess. You only date her if you want all the females you even just look at die. I laughed back and then said, see, I'm going to find out what's going on. Are you with me? She said, trust me, no one will tell you. Who said I'm going to ask? And winked at her. What do you mean? She said. I'm going to spy on them. If they have superpowers and inhuman abilities, I have science and technology. I'm going shopping tomorrow. Are you with me? They spy me. Next morning, I went to Sanna Madam and took the gate pass so I could go out of the school and get some grocery. Our bodyguards followed us till school and gave us the list of things they needed. Ritika and I took the rickshaw and went in the market where we purchased the list of our friends and kept them in the backpack of Ritika. Then we both hit the electronics store and got the best deal we could for a couple of spy cams and walkie-talkies. We kept them below in my sack bag. After that, we hit the grocery store and bought lot of chips, cold drinks and toffees and other things we could get our hands on to cover our real shopping, which lay at the bottom of my rusk bag. We reached after sunset back to our school, where we were greeted by literally every person in the premises whose face I had seen till now. The impatience for our return and relief after seeing us in one piece could be easily seen in their eyes. That night, we both told all that we were tired due to shopping, we had to walk a lot, and hence we were going to sleep early. At night, we both set up the control room in Ritika's room. The reason being usually other didn't come in her room. In my room, Radha and Rucha usually came and went many times, even teleported directly in my room. So we made a separate room in study area by using the cupboard as separator or wall and set inside the control system, set up a laptop which were attached to the wireless CCTV and the radio which was attached to the walkie-talkie. Now only the work remained was putting the CCTV and walkie-talkie in the domes of those two houses. But later, I was told by Ritika, instead of domes, we will need to hide this in their war room. What's war room? She smiled and said, the rooms like this, what you call control room. It's actually war room, a secret place where the planning and controlling is done. I nodded. And where is it? She said, of course, in the head girl's room. I simply nodded and said, if I distract her, can you put the devices in her war room? She nodded. Next morning before school, I threw a tantrum in both houses. Head girls' dome marching in. I had begun. You need to tell me now what's going on. Why are you keeping the secret and someone trying to kill us both? Thanks to the locket given to me long by Radha, that they couldn't control or read my thoughts anymore. They both said no one is going to harm us. This is the issue of non humans and we will deal with it. There is nothing to worry and send us both away. The answers looked like it was rehearsed again and again. But Ritika had done her job of slip of hand. We went to our class, had breakfast, and then came back to our dorms. I was going to start the radio and laptop to start spying, but Ritika signaled me and stopped. She took me in the gallery, and we walked for some time about all things except the one thing which we both had in our mind. After some time, she said, now it's safe to start the spying. What was all about that? I asked. She said, there was one Pishachni out there. She can hear tiniest sound miles away. I asked, who was she? Tell me so next time I will be more careful. She said, the girl with whom you were practicing your spear fight today. Oh, I remember that girl. Mean, angry, and arrogant. Good looks, but no skills and no sportsmanship to accept the defeat. I had pinned her like 6 times, but she still used to get up and ask for more. We opened the laptop and switched on the walkie talkie, but there was no one in the room. We kept the radio on and switched on the TV and enjoyed the cold drink, chips with good comedy movie. After the interval, though the movement was seen in CCTV of Green Blood House War Room, guess what? Both house leaders and Bhairav and Rutu and Sadhana madam were there. Any luck in finding out who is hunting in the compound? Bhairav asked. Answer was negative. Ritu was going to open his mouth when Rucha said, no, Ritu. It was not a wild animal. Wild animal does not kill the animal and eat only its heart and leave entire meal. I know myself, so keep your thoughts to yourself. Radha said, yes, and I don't have any creature in school list who can ever do that. I mean, kill and eat, okay. But hunger only for the one part of the body I never heard of. Bhairav said, I have a different approach. Sadhana madam looked at him and said, tell me. The look on Sadhana madam's eye told us both he was smartest in the room and all were looking with hope at him. He said, means I don't have proof, but I don't think someone is hunting and eating hearts of animal. I think heart is used for something else, like a ritual or something. Sadhana madam said, no one of my students even have the smallest idea of any ritual with blood sacrifice. Even Rucha is years behind that syllabus. Bhairav said, madam, is there any possibilities that someone is self-teaching himself? If not, then I can guarantee you it's not from our school. The danger has come to our school. It's not from our school. How many hearts the hunter has taken? Someone asked. 6, someone replied. God knows how many he wants, some other person said. But But while this discussion was going on, Radha said today Rishi had come and was asking a lot of questions. Yes, he had come to me also, Rucha said. So what did you do? Radha said. Same story as we had practiced. But I'm sure it will not convince him. He is not Ritika, he is third level warrior. Both gave a smile and then said, What's say let's add few big guns to the group. Sadhna ma'am said, Don't do anything yet, or he will lose the temper. And who knows, he might pick sword and go in the garden to find out, and we don't want that. After some chit chat, the group disappeared. Now, the plan. Now, Ritika and I knew one thing. Someone has hunting in our school premises, and no one knew who it was. The hunter was taking heart, and only heart of its prey. This act was questionable, as were hunters in my school. This has raised the alarm. I smiled. Ritika said, Why are you smiling? I said, They are looking in forest and all hunting communities in the school, and they are looking at the wrong place. What do you mean? I said nothing. You will find out soon, and I left. Next morning, I went for the jog. It was so early that no one had woken up yet, not even the roosters. I went straight in the forest, where the hunt used to take place, the sports which I had seen many times with my binoculars. Then I went inside the forest, a lot inside, searching for something, any evidence I could find in torchlight. After a good long walk, I came to the spot which looked like a place where hunt was done. The shrubs were disturbed and broken. There were the blood marks on the trees and stones. Few steps back, and I got the confirmation there were 6 graves I could see, closed with the dirt in a line. I clicked on my smartphone and switched on the map, taking the exact location of the place. Then I went to the library and browsed through the books, trying to find out the books. This will tell me about the sacrificial rituals, also different kinds of celestial bodies, both in green and blue blood. I signed for 2 3 books in both categories and left before Sadhna madam came in the library. After that, I went for a swimming and returned to the class. The lecture was going to start. Ritika raised her eyebrows in question. I signaled her, we'll talk later, and sat down on the bench. Later that night, in our red blood war room, I showed her the pics of 6 graves and location on the map. Also, I showed her the books. She sat down quietly for a few seconds and then said, So, what is in your mind? I said, I am thinking of putting cameras on those trees and find out who and why hearts are eaten of animals. She smiled and said, Oh, won't you like to have the satellite up in the sky, send you live video streaming? What do you mean? I said, Rishi, we need to look the budget. We both have emptied our entire month's pocket money for the walkie-talkies and CCTV and baby monitors we already have put in the both war room. We are literally broke just now. I nodded. She was right. Then I said, okay, we might get a drone or something. We will keep thinking. She nodded. We both went through those 3 books, which gave us reference of few more books, and they few other by the end of the month. We both had literally eaten few hundred books each and found out only one thing: only the creatures in hell have this kind of specific hunger. But which creature has which body part craving? It was not mentioned anywhere. Many of the books didn't even tell the type of creature in hell. Hell was a mystery. The real mess. Ritika said, Rishi, this is worse than you and I think. This means only one thing: someone from hell has come up, someone who was in hell for a reason is walking on the planet. I nodded and said, only waiting for his official introduction. Our days went by as usual. Then one day, throwing the baskets with Bhairav and Ritu, I went for a swim with them in pool where the apsaras were relaxing themselves. I couldn't stop but look at them. Bhairav looked at me and said, The last good thing that happened in our school, right? I just smiled back and said, If you say so. I don't even know what's gone wrong. Patting my shoulder, he said, Don't you worry, brother. Until I'm here, nothing is going to happen to you. I just gave him a smile and went inside the water. Next morning I went to library again and borrowed few more books on my library card, kept these books in my room and then went to my classroom. The Green Blood House war room was filled and all were there taking updates from each other. But the sad news was no one had any update. The situation was as yesterday. After some time, I went to my room, relaxed, and started studying the books I had borrowed. This routine went on for few days. Ritika had noticed that I have few books in my room, and I assured her if I find any lead, will update her. Then one day I got a hunch and decided to work on that hunch. So I went to the laundry room and washed all my good trousers and t-shirts and pressed them. Then I went to school barber and got one of the cool haircut. I purchased few perfumes and hair gels and other cosmetics. I was going to be best tomorrow morning and I was at my best next morning. I showed, set my hair, wore and best clothes I had got completely ready and waited some time in boys' room before going to the lecture. When I was sure I had everyone in the class, I texted Ritika saying, "Trust me," and went in the class and sat on the bench next to the Sati, the Apsara. Sati looked at me for a few seconds, confused, and then gave me a smile. I smiled back and introduced myself. She said, "You usually sit with red blood house girls, right?" I nodded and said, "Yes, we both had an argument last night. You don't mind me sitting with you, do you?" "Of course not," she said. And from that moment, I had changed my group. Now I was with Ritika, not with Bhairav and Ritu, but I was with Apsara and Gandharvas. I spent my days with these beautiful girls and handsome boys with special blessings to music and dance. In free time, they used to have the dance and singing and musical instruments competitions as I was not good at any. Of that, I was given the position of judge. Trust me, I was not good at even that, but I did that. The progress. Everything was going on great. My new routine and new friends were set. Till now, as far as I can remember, more than 35 times the heart had went missing from the hunts, and panic was seen in both bloodhouse. But then, what happened was of new level. Now to get the heart, one of the school watchdog was hunted, which was found lying in front of the school gates in the fountain. This was worse. It meant the hunter had become bolder. And in the blue blood war room, the words were, "It won't take this hunter much time to start killing two-legged ones." Two-legged ones meant all the students of our school, the one who can walk on one leg, humans, yakshas, daityas, apsaras, and humans. The psychopath serial killer was loose in my school. I was also in tension after hearing this. Many lives were at stake. I got up and began to go to my room when Ritika held my hand and made me sit down next to her, then looked in my eyes and said, "Rishi, whatever you are working on, will you like to share?" I said, "Okay. Tell me, do you think simply being very beautiful one can be an apsara?" Means, what do you mean? She asked, raising her eyebrows. I said, "Let me rephrase it. Will you believe if I will tell you I know a Apsara who does not like to sing or play an instrument or dance?" Curiosity rose in the eyes of Ritika and said, "I thought they are born to dance and sing." I smiled and said, "Even I thought the same. So, what do you think?" She asked me. I said, "Let me be sure and will tell you." She nodded. The thief in school. That night around 2, Aunt Ritika rang my dome's door and said, "Are you sure yet?" "What?" I asked, half asleep. "Are you sure who is behind this?" she said urgently. "What happened?" I asked. She said, "Well, there has been a robbery." "Oh my god, what did they take?" I asked, still confused. "That is kept a secret from us red blood. But trust me, entire golden blood is in panic mode, and that's not God. It's really, really very bad." I nodded. That morning, I saw many students were talking about going out of the school for few days, and many were busy converting the school in war bunkers. Everyone was seen very, very busy and in panic. I went to breakfast and sat with Sati and counted the heads. I was right, one head was missing. I went to the counter and checked for the list of students who had used their today coupons for the breakfast just to be sure. After that, I took the tour of entire school just to be sure. And after that, I went to the class and took Ritika out of the class holding hands. Just before teacher could say something, I said, "Sorry, sir. It's very, very urgent. Red blood human things I need to do," and dragged her out of the class to our war room. The expression of confusion and panic and excitement was seen her face the entire way. In the war room, I started. I knew it. I was right. She was gone missing. No one has noticed it yet due to whatever she has robbed. All are busy thinking about it, but she has gone missing. Who? Ritika asked. The Apsara who won't dance or sing. I said. What? How? Who is she? I smiled and said, "She is no Apsara, that's for sure." Ritika looked at me and said, "Rishi, calm down and tell me from the beginning." I said, "Okay." That day I was in the pool with Bhairav, and the group of Apsaras were sitting there. As was looking at them, Bhairav said something like they were the last good things that happened to this school. That made me think what happened after they joined the school that could spread this panic. Maybe one of them has someone related or reason for this panic. It was just the hunch, no proof, so I kept it to myself. Didn't even share with you. And to confirm my suspicions, I joined the group of Apsara and Gandharvas, where I noticed that one Apsara will not sing or dance. She always had a reason ready for her to avoid practicing in this singing and dancing. But she was really pretty and beautiful. She was all Apsara except she won't dance or sing. Ritika noted while I went on. So I tried to add one more filter to our search. Who is so beautiful that they can pass as Apsara easily? And only one answer popped up. Patal Sundari. She is from hell and might have an appetite for hearts. After all, they are said as the thieves of heart. Never thought it was meant in literally sense. She gave me a blank look and then said, "What's her name?" I said, "She told her name was Dushti, but I doubt it's her real name." She nodded and then said, "Now let's plan what to do." I smiled and said, "I know what to do exactly." "And what is that?" Ritika asked, winking at her face. I said with a smile, "Hijack the war of green and blue blood house." The bluff. That whole night we both spent on discussing the details of every small details and getting on the same page as to each other. Next morning we both went straight to the war room of the green blood house. Bhairav and Ritu tried to tell me politely to leave, but we both sat on the chairs and said, "You know, there has been a robbery. You tell us what has been robbed and we will get it back." All looked at us and said, "So, you know where it is? Why don't you tell it to us and leave this for the grown ups?" I said, I know who has been hunting and eating hearts of animals in your ground. I know who has robbed something precious from you, and I know where it is and where this creature is. The one thing I don't know is what has been robbed. So tell me what has been stolen, and then I speak." All looked at each other, and Rucha said, "Who told you about the hearts?" I just smiled and ignored her. Bhairav said, "Who told you something was robbed?" I also didn't change my attitude. Finally, I got up from the chair, looked Radha and Rucha right in their eyes, and said, "I will wait till dinner or else I am going against the one who robbed my school. I can beat the craps out of it and ask what he has taken and get it back. But then you guys will have nothing to do with it." I walked out of the room, head held high, spine straight, and steps confident. There was no doubt I had got their attention. Ritika followed me. I controlled my feelings of anxiety till I had got out of their domes and sat in our war room. Then I wiped my sweat and gave a scream of relief. We switched on our spyware and sat monitoring their every move. Bhairav was saying he was spending time with Apsara. That Sati might have been she told him that. The Green Blood House said, "No, Apsara knows what's going on. Then I tell you, there is no way he knows what's going on unless he can read our thoughts, and trust me, he is not that capable of it yet. Sadhna madam said, let's not tell them about the book of Nataraja anything. Let's keep this book being stolen, secret, and we will invent the story of something else being robbed. Negotiate with him and try to find out what he knows, how much he knows, and from where he got all that. All agreed to it. Then Sadhana madam said, tell him the Shivlingam to which both blue and green blood pray in this school, which is the source of your powers, has been stolen. All agreed to it. After a few minutes of chit chat, their meetings was adjourned. Ritika and I went in the library to know what the book of Nataraja was. After research, we go to know it was a book written by Nataraj Shiva himself. It was the first manuscript of dance and music. It was a real source of all the arts around the globe. That book was the reason why every day millions of new artists were born and new art forms were invented. Stealing that book was like stealing the art forms from the world. Ritika and I both got the seriousness on this heist which had been conducted. We both will work out and make plans at night. It was decided and agreed. The plan. That night, Rucha and Radha both came in my dorm room. Seeing them both came in my room, Ritika joined us. Radha poured us all lemonade and talk began. So, Rishi, tell me, what do you know? And we will tell what we know. I smiled humbly and said, ladies first. After a few moments of polite arguments, Radha began her story as they had rehearsed the Shivlingam, which was the source of their power being stolen. I and Ritika both heard the story very politely and sincerely. After she had completed, I said, well, good luck. Finding the lingam, I can't help you with that. Why? They both asked. I said, well, I am going to busy getting the book of Nataraja. Ritika smiled at them both and showed them the door and closed them on their faces, saying you both were his friends. Shouldn't have lied to him. Goodbye. That night we both made a plan to go and bring the book and the dushti. At night, we discussed Patal Sundari was the habitant of Atala. From earth, if hell was below us, Atala was the first stop and first part of the hell. Normally, hell or Patal was classified in 7 to 8 parts. Atala was the first one. It was ruled by Bala, the son of Maya Danav, who was the greatest architecture. It was well known that Bala kingdom was a maze, the maze that of the 64 sins which cannot be forgiven. If a human entered Atala, he is tempted to do that sins, and once that sin is committed, you are trapped there forever. Patal Sundari were also the part of the maze that seduce you and enhance your lust and provoke you to make wrong decisions. Also, Bala, being the Danav and ruler of Atala, he was considered to be very powerful with his own personal army, and that too of Daityas, Rakshasas, and Danavs. Also, no one had the map of Atala or knew how to get in or get out. Well, we knew what to do but had no idea how to do it. We were working in progress. There were few questions. First, how do we get to Atala? Second, how do we overcome the temptations of 64 sins maze in Atala? Third, how do we fight the creatures down there and bring her and the book back? Ritika and we talked for few minutes and then she said, if only we could get our hands of few objects from the Golden Blood House. I said, you want something from our teachers? She said, well, mostly all golden blood in our school are yoginis, means they are literally gods. And yes, they have few objects which are really powerful. For example, this book which was stolen. I nodded and then said, so if you would get your hands on these objects, which objects will you take? She said, they have an arrow which had seized Lord Sri Krishna's legs, and Lord Vishnu had left the mortal body of Sri Krishna and went to Swarg. That arrow point has the power to help us dimensions travel. We can go in heaven and hell with the help of it. Lord Vishnu had first done this travel and got to Swarg because of it. This event had given this arrowhead that power. I said, okay, go on. Then she said, there is a sword made of Kal Bhairav nail, which had cut the head of Lord Brahma. No army ever can defeat the person holding this sword. Okay, I was interested, so I said, what else? She said, there is a garland of heads which Shiva himself had worn during the meditation to keep his mind in control. Okay, I said, so you want me to wear the garland of skulls, take the sword of nail, and go to hell sitting on the point of arrow? She laughed a lot and said, sorry, I was imagining you in that form. No, it's not like that. You take only one skull from that garland, keep it in the back, put the sword of Kal Bhairav nails on your back. It will act as armor and offer 2 drops of your blood to arrow and hold it. It will take you to Atala. I nodded and kept quiet for a long time. So, what are you thinking? She asked after a pause. I am thinking of raiding the Artifacts Museum of Golden Blood and kept quiet. She looked at me, only the look without emotions, as if even she was confused as to whether I was sure or not of what I was planning. And action. Next day, Ritika came to me and said, see, I have a plan to raid the Golden Blood House Museum of Artifacts. Now, we were talking. Go on, I said. She said, there is a one shawl in the Green Blood House which Yakshanis used to sneak out of the school at night. It's the blessed shawl given to Yakshas and Yakshanis by Shiva, which makes them invisible. It's very powerful, she said. I nodded and said, then that shawl will help us even in Atala. She nodded. Then I said, okay. Do you know a place which we can use as a base of operation other than our domes? And is there a way to find the route of Atala? She smiled. We'll let you know by noon. I was happy. She was in this school for longer time than me. She was the one who knew stuff more than me. At noon, she said there's a private mirror of one of the Dakhini named Marudu in Blue Blood House. She said that mirror can show us anything you want to see if it's in the same dimensions as the mirror. I nodded. So, it's in hell. That's why it has not shown the book yet, as it's not in the same dimension. No, she said, the mirror has not asked yet. If teachers know that student poses such item, they will confiscate it. She used it to spy on her boyfriends back home. I smiled, then said, we need few more spy cameras so we can put it in the Museum of Artifacts in Golden Blood House and in Marudu's room. We both nodded and discussed for same time and decided that we will keep walkie-talkie in the war room of the both house and shift the spy cameras over there, the Golden Blood House and Marudu's room. Next morning, after the student had gone out, we slipped in Green Blood Dome and borrowed the shawl, which will make us invisible. Then, using it, we went in war room and took the spy cameras and put it where we wanted them to be. Now we were going to spend some time watching both the museum and Dakhini and the routine, the security over there, and the way to operate it. We were going to learn it. Also, we were going to see what the both houses were up to. Radha and Sadhana madam had come to the conclusion that we both had got learned about what is going on by some kind of spell or tricks, but they were sure we didn't know anything more than that. And that was we were only mortal humans, we should not be entertained and kept far away this case for the safety of us both. We had figured the timings and processes of operating the artifacts through CCTV. Then one day, Ritika came up to me and said, our operation base is ready. She took me at the backside of our dome, where the blue bloods had started playing carom and cards at night. There was a spiral staircase which went up to the roof. Up there was a room where entire scarp had been kept. Ritika had cleaned it up and made it our operation base. She had borrowed lot of weapons and mattresses and other things from the gym and many books from the library. It was perfect, and we were ready to do 3 hests in one day. That night we both asked for extra dinner and went in early. To the hell. We had our dinner and slept in our blankets At midnight, as per the rules, after the blue bloods had returned from the hunt and confirmed that we were in bed and left for their individual dooms, we both got up and got ready. We took a shawl around us and went to our base. There were both armed ourselves and then went to the Marudu's room. Her window was open. Ritika made me wait and hide in the shadows while she went inside the window. And after some time, come back holding the mirror which was framed in silver. I looked at her and she said, well, the mirror was below her pillow. It took some time. I said, you could have taken me with you. You didn't let me even open my mouth. She smiled and teased me. Oh, you wanted to enter a girl's room while she is asleep through the window? I just smiled and getting her point and walked to the Golden Blood House. Inside the Golden Blood House, we both went hiding in the shawl. We deactivated the laser security as we had seen the password. After that, we took the key from the nail in the wall and opened the glass showcase and picked up the objects we wanted. Locked the glass showcase, started on the security, and went back to our base. Then Ritika said, from here, your journey starts. I looked at her. I knew it was the best decision. We had decided it before also. Ritika was only level 2, even though she was smart, she was not capable to handle Patala or Hell. And there was a quite a necessity for us to have one of us behind as backup. So she put on armor on me. At the back straight between armor and my black t-shirt went the nail sword of Kalbhairava. She put another sword for me to use at my waist, handed me a crossbow and quiver which was tied to my right thigh, and a spear which was my favorite weapon in my hand. She had packed me a backpack. In the below was a skull from the Narmud or the garland of human head of Shiva. On it was food and water and first aid kit. The shawl was wrapped around my neck and a knot was tied to it. She had arranged a special pouch for my belt in which she put the mirror and the arrow point we had borrowed from the Golden Blood House and Marudu. I was all set. She said, if there is any problem you have tiniest doubt you can handle. Came back with arrow. I nodded. She said, okay, then off you go. I will pray for your safety and success. She kissed me good luck on cheek and pushed me. Now off you go. I have a lot of errands to do. Yes, she had few things to do. First was taking off spy cameras and walkie talkies and remove all the evidence of our spying on everybody. Second was to make everybody believe that I was sick and hence was on rest and not attending the classes. Then she needed to get her hands on some kind of rope or chain which can hold the Patal Sundari if I was successfully in capturing her and bringing her back. I ran my fingers on the arrowhead. It was sharp and instantly made a cut on my finger. The arrowhead was washed in my blood. I said, inside Atala, the kingdom of Bala. Blackness circled me, and in few seconds I felt very, very light as if I was being lifted from the earth. As if I was floating from the ground, and then suddenly I fell down with a huge thud. I had bruised myself and think my ankle was sprained. Looking around, I knew I was not on earth. Quickly, I covered myself with the shawl, hoping it will work in this dimension also and move myself back to the corner of the road. In the shadows, where I sprayed pain relief lotion on ankle and drank few sips of water from the bottle. Then got up and started walking. After walking for few hours, I realized that wherever I turned, whichever direction I walked, I again and again came to the same place. It was like I was stuck in a maze. It was a labyrinth. I removed the mirror and asked to see the book. I could see the book, which was kept in the circular room, guarded by more than 10 to 12 guards. All looked as if they were at least 3 to 4 times Bhairav, my friend in school. They were very, very huge and evil looking. I saw the room and remembered it in my mind. Then I waited for some time, sitting silently in the shadows. I was waiting for Dushti. I had a hunch she will visit the book now or later. I hoped for now then later. On the other hand, Here at the back home, Ritika had gone to both the war rooms and asked if they were ready to accept Red Blood as real allies, and while in the conversation, she picked up the walkie talkies. We already knew what the answer was. Then she went to the Marudus to ask for notes, and being girly and chatty, spent some times over there. And boom, the CCTV had went inside the purse. Then at last she went to Golden Blood House and asked for few medicines, slightly and skillfully slipping the information that I am having fever, nothing to worry, but today I am on bed rest, and while doing that she skillfully slipped the CCTV inside the purse. Later she went to the school gym and was searching something when Radha joined her and said, "Hi, again, how are you? We met like just half hour ago, remember, when you didn't let us in the secret society?" Radha smiled and said, "Ritika, that's a different thing. What happens in the war room, stay in the war room. But here, out of the war room, you are still my friend. So, what are you up to?" Ritika said, "Nothing much. Trying to find a rope or a chain big enough." "Why?" she asked. Radha said, "Nothing. Just was thinking of hanging a swing in my balcony." She smiled and said, "I know. What do you want? Wait here." Saying so, she disappeared, and in few seconds she came back, holding a chain. It looked strong enough, and Ritika was satisfied with these chains will hold our prey. She thanked Radha and began walking. Radha said, "Tell Rishi to get well soon." So the news had reached her also. Gossiping was super fast in our school. Did these girls have their own separate messaging group or other something? With Sadhana madam in it. Ritika said, "One day we will be in that group soon. After we have proven our blood, they will have to accept us." I said, "They are waiting for a while," and then thought of searching Dushti with the help of mirror. The mirror located her and started giving me the live feed. Dushti was roaming alone the place freely, accompanied by 2 3 of her friends and 2 bodyguards. By the way, other greeted her. I thought she was same kind of royalty or something, but soon I realized that she was not. It was only the respect she had earned in the eyes of others for her achievement, the book she had stolen from earth. Now I was more concentrating on the background, the building of city of Atala, and I was stunned. The place where I saw water was only the magical effect given. It was actually the road. There were many walls which I thought were solid, but Dushti had walked inside them. They were mere light reflection. The city was built in such a way that even if it was attacked by the biggest army, the enemy army will keep roaming in a circle but cannot find the way. The houses were triple stories, and each house had healthy looking reptiles playing and relaxing in the yards. They must be the family pets, many of which I can't even tell the species of. I saw her way by the kettles, which I assumed as the kettle of Bala, the ruler of Atala. It was filled with beautiful women and smart and handsome looking men. Only they were not humans. The kettles were another maze, and I saw her enter it and walk through walls right and left here and there till she came to the passage which led to circular room. Now I saw the book and her together. This was my chance to get them both in the single go. But now 2 guards were added to already 10 to 12 present. I stood up and checked my ankle. It was okay. I got the crossbow ready by loading an arrow to it and spear in other hand. Then I offered the blood to the arrowhead in the pouch on the waist and asked for myself to take to the book which I had seen in the hand of Patal Sundari. As soon as I fell down in the circular room, by teleportation, arrow went in the leg of Tushti and I covered myself in the shawl. Around my leg, got up, readied myself, and then removed the shawl. With the spear in hand, it took me less time than I had imagined. Taking down those guards, guess it was due to the sword of Kal Bhairav nail. But they were screaming and yelling, and I had started worrying back up might come sooner or later. And I had no intention of entering in the war against the army from hell. I wanted to keep the haste, all haste, only not for the full fledged war. Back home. Back at the school, Ritika had avoided the class as well. and she was waiting for me at our base, sitting there meditation to Lord Shiva. First, all assumed that she was with me taking care of my health, but when Ritu declared in the greenhouse war room that he had come to see me, but I was not there, and neither Ritika was accounted for, all the houses had gone in the panic mode. In Atala, after I made serious damage to the guards and guarding the book and was sure no one will get up, I went and picked the book. Below the book, I saw a crystal necklace, huge stone beautifully put in the silver chain. The stone looked exactly how our planet Earth would look from high up in the sky. It had shades of blue, brown, and green, circular shaped. I liked it. To make the picture clear, you can say it was a miniature Earth in the pendant. I picked it up, saying, "This is the interest for our book." Then put the book in the bag and pendant in the pouch, and held the hand of Dushti, offered the blood to Arrow, and was just about to get back, when Arrow struck me in the shoulder and other pressed the quiver on my thigh and went in the leg. But I didn't let go Dushti. We both landed in our base with arrows coming out of our bodies but still alive. Ritika opened her eyes. She was sitting there in silence meditating. "Oh my god, Rishi, what happened?" She panicked. "Tie her up," I said, pointing to Dushti, who had fell few feet away. Quickly Ritika forced Dushti in chair and tied her up. She was not at all gentle to her while doing that, and she didn't show even little mercy for her or her wound from my arrows I had given her. After she was secure in the chair, Ritika removed the arrows from me first and then from the Dushti and patched our wounds. After that, she borrowed the invisible shawl and took the items we had borrowed from all the houses and put them back where they belonged. She returned after some time to us with cup of coffee. This coffee made me strong. The conclusion. After coffee, I got up with the help of Ritika, and untying Dushti, we took her in Ritika's dome, where we tied her again to the chair. We could see it was only her pride that was not allowing her to cry, or by now she would have started sobbing. She was nearly in tears. She was afraid, scared, but still trying to show that she is tough. I respected her for that. Then we started asking her questions. Why did you steal this book? Who told you about this book? What was your intention behind this book? We did not scold her or shout at her. We were gentle, but she would not open her mouth. Anyway, somehow we are in Ritika's dome suddenly become the breaking news our school. Someone must have heard us. I suspected the Pishachni. Everyone entered our rooms together. Now it was Ritika turns to show them the door. "Sorry, this is our war room, and you are not welcome here." Saying so, she was just about to close the door on Rucha and Bhairav faces when Radha and Sadhana madam came with Ritu. Ritika couldn't show attitude to Sadhana madam. Sadhana madam came in and looked at Dushti, tied to chair and the book of Nataraja, which was lying next to her on the table. Then she kept her hand on my forehead, and all the events ran before my eyes as if they were a Hollywood action movie. Sadhana madam did the same with Ritika. Sadhana madam had seen everything what we had done. She knew what we, the red blood, were capable of. She smiled and said, "Radha and Rucha were wrong to underestimate you both. You were brave, Rishi, and you were very smart, Ritika. I am proud of you. And yes, I will be changing the passwords." We both smiled. Then she sent for the school nurse to look the dushtis and my injuries. Radha said, "We both are sorry to underestimate you." And her, this feeling don't know how in her own twisted way, gave her the sense of achievement, the same feeling I got after I brought back her and the book. Sadhana madam smiled at me and said, "You are a humble boy. One day you will travel all the seven hells and seven heavens." I simply nodded, not knowing what did it exactly meant. In the morning, Radha came in my room yelling at me, "Are you out of your freaking mind? You told Sadhana madam to forgive Dushti and make her student again." I knew. One thing, she might be excused, but she was not going to Patal or escaping the school for a long time. Sadhana madam has imprisoned her by making her the student. That's what she had told me yesterday night. She was not a navy as me. and her trust needed to be earned. After a week, when I could get up easily and walk, I came out of my room of the first time in the days and noticed one thing. Now my nameplate had 4 rubies and Ritika nameplate had 3 rubies. Guesses we had been promoted. Also, there had been one new house introduced, the Black Blood House, who lives in Hell or Patal. I had one occupant, the Patal Sundari Dushti, and she had taken the vow never to leave the school and cause any trouble. Nobody trusted her. A party was thrown for us, where Ritika and I finally told the entire story of how we had completed the mission. In the end of Dushti, got up officially asked everybody for forgiveness for her actions. She said she meant no harms. She only wanted to be someone in her Atala city. She wanted to be recognized by all. And then she looked at Sadhana Madam and said, Madam, for this haste, they had borrowed artifacts from your domes, but now Red Blood had gone their own artifacts. Rishi has got one for his friend. Sadhana Madam didn't understand what she was saying. Dushti promoted me. The necklace shown it to her. I remembered the necklace and handed it in the hand of Sadhana Madam. She realized what it was. Her expression showed sudden changes from shock to excitement, of confusion to pride. She did not say a word. She put it in the neck of Ritika and said, Keep it safe. Then looked at me and said, Who told you what it was? I said, I don't know what it is. I got it because it looked fancy. It was laying below the book. She smiled and said, You brought the biggest gift and you don't know what it is. I asked her, What is it, madam? This time she just winked at me and walked out of the room.